Good evening, everybody. This is Essa Zanambasi on Applied New Life, also known as Team Training Tuesday. You are all welcome. And today we are doing part 2 of From Boys to Men. June is said to be Men's Health Month. And last week we started the series where we talked about men's health, but starting at the very beginning, and hopefully we'll close the loop. And today we are going to talk about men between the ages of 12 and 20. I would like to just also say that this is the week in South Africa where I live, where we commemorate Youth Day, which is on the 16th of June. And that is to remember what happened in 1976, when there was what was known as the Soweto Uprising, when the youth in schools expressed how disenchanted they were with the education system. So in a way, this presentation is my way of remembering Youth Day, and specifically June 16th. My name is Essa Zanambasi, as I've said. I'm a medical doctor by training, and by passion, I love what we do in this opportunity that we call Near Life. I believe that with healthier men, we can have a wealthier nation. We are a family on a mission to make the world a healthier and happier place. And I believe that what we are discussing today is very important. First of all, I would like to give a summary of chronic lifestyle diseases. As you can see on that list, cardiovascular diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, diabetes, cancer, and also neurological and mental diseases are in the list as well, on the list. And I want to focus on that particular one and put it in terms of the youth and that age group that we are discussing, between 12 and 20 years old. So in the way of introduction and some background, we know that young people are placed in school in grades, and they are stratified according to age. Also, young people are generally perceived as a group that needs to be controlled. At their age of development, at their stage of development, they happen to have a here and now mentality. Their needs being met, perhaps by their family or their parents, they tend to develop a sense of entitlement. And this attitude is further compounded by commercial exploitation of youth, by intensive marketing by manufacturers, for example, of clothes, gadgets, beverages, and food, and by personalities. So the youth are indeed in a situation where they have a dilemma on their hands, because our young people, the youth, they perceive their future to be uncertain and quite blurred. And they perceive events that happen to them as being beyond their control. They are no longer little children, nor are they yet considered adults. So society labels them as transitional. They're transitional beings. Now, I believe that for there to be change and for there to be a positive difference made, there has to be an attitude change. So ideally, the youth need opportunities for self-realization, to explore their ingenuity, and creativity in constructive and non-adversarial terms. They need opportunities to participate in decision-making processes. They need education in effective communication, values classification, decision-making, and peer leadership. They need to gain skills in handling new and unexpected situations. Also, I believe materialistic commercial exploitation must be controlled. Parents need to learn how to effectively support and guide adolescents, providing structure and setting boundaries. So that is in the ideal world. So now let's talk a little bit about the growth and development of adolescents. We can put it into three categories or three processes. There's the biologic growth or puberty. Then there's the cognitive maturation from concrete thinking to abstract thinking. And then there's the psychosocial development, where there's progression from dependency to autonomous adulthood. Now, these three processes do not proceed at the same pace, and they are uniquely different for each individual. Growth and development, those are the three processes, and there's a little picture to show some of the aspects that we are about to discuss, the developmental tasks of the youth. I want to start by talking about hormones. And if you've been on these series and these presentations, you know that hormones are very important and no less important for the youth. Now, hormones are those chemical messengers in our bodies that are made by glands, and they impact cells throughout the body. They're very, very important. They are like a huge orchestra that commands how our lives turn out. They command our moods, they command our digestion and extraction of nutrients from food. They literally cause us to stay alive. That's what hormones are. So there's a complex interplay among the hypothalamic, pituitary, and gonadal hormones. And now we're talking about men. So the gonads in this case are the testes. And from the pituitary, there's the luteinizing hormone, which acts on cells that prompt testicular maturation and testosterone production. That is a hormone, testosterone. And then we also have follicle stimulating hormone, also from the pituitary, which together with the luteinizing hormone stimulate the final stage of spermatogenesis or sperm formation. So you can see that hormones are very, very important. And for the body to make those hormones in the glands, they have to be certain tools, also known as good nutrition as required by the body. So now, let us talk a bit about cognitive maturation. I won't spend too much time talking about puberty and the physical changes that happen in puberty. I'm sure all of us will remember them or have witnessed them in our children or siblings. But yeah, there are physical changes that take place. But today I want to focus a little bit more on the cognitive maturation. And I'll start by talking about concrete thought. Concrete thought is limited to considering specific things, specific objects and situations in here and now terms. And the concrete thinker lacks the ability to extract general principles from an experience and to apply them to a whole new experience. The future cannot be appreciated except as a direct projection of clearly visible current situations and known options. In fact, that just describes how that person's thinking is pre-programmed and set, hence the name concrete thinker. Most decisions can only be appreciated in black or white, yes or no, all or nothing. Very little room. So a concrete thinker is not able to grasp possibility of there being multiple possible solutions. And that is a phase that they go through as they mature, as the youth mature, or as individuals mature. So cognitive maturation, and now let's look at abstract thinking. Abstract thinking permits conceptualization of possibilities beyond past and present experiences, allows for intellectual creativity. Significant for psychosocial development in facilitating the formulation of identity, in achievement of independence, perception of future possibilities in career and lifestyle choices, and in evolution of a personal value system. It is said that ability to abstract or to develop abstract thinking or to have abstract thinking on average begins at about 12 years of age, and it is fully operational by the age of 16 to 18 years. But please note that there will be a wide variation among individuals. Now, here is a picture that I would like you to look at, which describes developing abstract thinking. And you can see from infancy up to about 2 years, there's sensory motor, and then 2 to 6 years is pre-operational, where the child uses symbols to represent objects, but does not reason logically yet. The child also has the ability to pretend during this stage. And so, yes, and during this stage, the child is quite egocentric. In other words, the world revolves around them. Then between 6 and 12 years old, the child can think logically about concrete objects and can thus add and subtract. The child also understands conversations. You can see the maturation process, but from about the age of 12, all the way to adulthood, and it's an ongoing process which happens as life happens. The adolescent can reason abstractly and think in hypothetical terms. So why I've laid this foundation is so that we can understand a lot about what we have in our hands, which is our opportunity, the opportunity that this family is so privileged to have. Now, factors that affect abstract thinking. The first factor that I have right up there is the education system. And why do I put it up there? Well, the education system is actually central to facilitating the development of the thinking processes. Because, you know, the students who are specifically taught how to reason, how to analyze, and make decisions generally do better in applying their cognitive skills in daily life than those who are in more limited settings. So you can even see that even a highly abstractive adolescent may have difficulty in seeing his range of options and acting on them when under stress, despite a good education. there are other factors as well, such as those ones that are mentioned here: stress-induced circumstances like family issues, such as peer relationships, insecurities, exams, sexuality and other health risk behaviors, illness. All those impact on abstract thinking. So I'm bringing it up like this because I would like us to have a really deeper appreciation of the value of what we do in this family. So let's carry on. It's so vital for all of us to recognize the cognitive status of the youth. This is essential to understand this is essential to understanding conflicting situations that might arise. It is also true that limited cognitive ability is another predictive factor of behavior risk-taking. And you know, we are always so up in arms about the youth and how badly they behave and how they're out of control and all this, but we fail to connect a few dots, such as the stage at which they are, their ability, whether their limited cognitive ability is as a result of perhaps lack of the right tools that we are going to elaborate on later on. So identifying this can lead to implementation of appropriate preventive measures. And I again stress that that is the reason for this opportunity. And for the guests, that's why we would really like to share it with you and to pray with you that you come aboard with us. So, psychosocial development is literally development from dependent child to self-reliant adult. And it entails search for his identity. And as he does that, questions that arise may be the following: who am I as a male in relation to other people? What is my place in this world, and what is the purpose of my life? By what value systems shall I govern my behavior? Now, these questions are usually against the background of the unique self and external world, such as the family, school, and peer groups. So we are now talking about psychosocial development, and as we connect everything together, you'll see that the significance of all this is that we do have solutions. They're not quick fixes, but there are solutions that we can all look at and embrace. So, summary of significant processes and events: early adolescence. The body changes and there's pubertal growth. And then they explore peer groups early. And, you know, they have best friends and little gangs and little groups. And the girls stick together and all that. But we are talking about boys today, yeah. So they enjoy those peer groups. And then they also look for role models. They really want to emulate somebody that they admire. They're busy gathering information, and they are also open to experimentation. And this is a time when that saying that goes, if you want to know what your child is up to, look at their friends, holds true. So, summary of processes and events. I've talked about early adolescence. Now I'm going to talk about middle adolescence. In the middle adolescence, 95% of physical growth is complete. They are physically adult and emerging from about the age of 16, 17, emerging of abstract thought. And it begins at a very high level with fantasy and idealism. They feel invincible. They have a desire for emancipation. They really want to be free of their parents, and they begin to surrender their first love for their parents or their family as they prepare for a future mate. Now, this is just to caution you that this can be a very tense time in the life of a family. They are also continuing with the peer groups, and maybe the different peer groups might be pressurizing them to take even more risks. And at this level, hormones are at adult levels, and so sex hormones trigger a strong reproductive drives, And also, they are prone to being physically attracted to a choice of mate, and the physical attraction might actually overrule character. And that's where one has to perhaps be on hand to advise. So in late adolescence, when they are now on the doorstep of adulthood, they are physically mature. They resume, interestingly enough, they resume closeness with their parents or their family, but now on different terms. They are actually now adults. And the peer groups that they had in early and middle adolescence seem to diminish in importance. And abstract thinking is more fully developed at this stage. And they begin to learn that it is important to make decisions about the future. So for many, graduation from high school or college is actually more a time of anxiety than joy, because, when they're faced with, oh my gosh, I'm going to actually have to look for a job and do that job and fend for myself, it brings up a lot of anxiety, because now they're seriously being kicked out of their comfort zone. So just listen up and listen close, because we may have a solution. In brief, I just want to talk about some behavioral and mental health issues very, very briefly. One of them is parenting adolescents. I'm sure every parent of adolescents can say that is cause for mental health issues in one way or another. Look, some adolescents cruise through adolescence and they really are no problem whatsoever. But it is a time of many trials. And then another issue that might arise are intra-family conflicts. That is quite common, unique in every family, but it happens. And that might create a desire to create distance. And in the early and middle adolescence, it can happen in that, well, they are going away to school or college or wherever they are going, but there's the very real danger of juvenile delinquency. So I won't go into details there. It's a discussion for another day. What I want to talk a little bit about is the whole issue of psychosomatic anxiety and conversion disorders that can occur. Now, preoccupation with physical changes of puberty and associated body image may cause somatization of symptoms. In other words, that concern, extreme concern and preoccupation might manifest as signs and symptoms in the body. They may develop recurrent complaints of headache, abdominal pain, muscle and joint aches and pains, persistent fatigue, all those symptoms have to be, first of all, understood. And this is part of this presentation, to make some of these things evidently clear. But at the same time, if we don't quite understand them and we resort to trying to medicate those symptoms, we might create bigger problems than we would otherwise create or have if we understood and even understood other solutions to these problems and challenges. There are variable degrees of acute and chronic anxiety, considering the complex demands that lead to acute and chronic stress affecting many youth today. And this is part of the reason for all this, so that we can understand why there is so much stress. Yeah, stress is the body's response to physical, mental, and emotional pressure. And it causes chemical changes that can raise the blood pressure, the heart rate, blood sugar levels. Stress causes feelings of frustration, anger, anxiety, and depression. It can be due to normal life activities, such as school or various pressures, or events such as illness or trauma. Now, we can all appreciate fully that long-term stress may lead to mental and physical health problems. And they arise at this stage and carry through to adulthood. So this is something that we need to be so aware of. Anxiety, feelings of fear, dread, and uneasiness can occur. They may manifest physically with symptoms, and if it is over a very long time, it can be termed as an anxiety disorder. And again, once the youth are given this kind of diagnosis, or if they're in these kinds of situations, it can actually affect them going forward into adult lives. And so that's perhaps what we need to suggest as to how we handle it with what we would like to share. And then, of course, there is depression, which is a mental condition marked by ongoing feelings of sadness, despair, loss of energy, and difficulty dealing with normal daily life. And it may also manifest with other symptoms as well, such as inability to eat or to sleep properly. And it is actually quite a serious issue. It can affect anybody, but particularly the youth. We need to have our eyes wide open for whether it is happening. And as families and communities, we need to be aware and look out and help. So a lot to deal with, a lot to be aware of. And I believe this is a very popular wheel, the wheel of life. That is where we need absolute balance, and we need to lead our youth to see that this is what we desire for them, and to really teach ourselves as families, as communities, and to have a vision and to know that there is a creator, there's the creator of the entire universe that is looking out for us. So I just want to say that we have lots to share. Let us explore and learn, because old ways won't open new doors. We can't do the same old and hope for a change. And also, we need to start now. If you wish to move mountains tomorrow, you must start by lifting stones today. And also, interestingly, we talked about the sense of entitlement and wanting things now, here and now. Well, success occurs when the dream gets bigger than excuses. So let's go on this journey of exploration. We want to introduce to you this opportunity called Neolife. But before I do, I just want to talk about the role of epigenetics. That is, things over and above the influence of genes, genetics, the things outside of the genes or the genetics of an individual. And the question is, what factors lead to gene expression and manifestation of those mental issues that we have talked about, anxiety, depression, and other mental diseases, particularly in the youth? Okay. Well, one is bad inflammation. Inflammation and oxidative damage can cause that. The other is actually nutrition. And so the question now is, what is nutrigenomics? Well, that is the study of nutrients on gene expression and the influence of genetic variation on nutrients. So with that in our minds, diet is very, very important. And we really need to teach our youth this phrase here that you are what you eat. And the reality is that 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. And now, these are the here and now foods that we really seriously have to discourage. And we need to get back to the basics and the foundation. So introducing Neolife, which is at the leading edge of nutrition supplementation. And they have presented us with supplements that can actually unfreeze biochemical reactions to restore and enhance optimal health, so that the influence of epigenetics is removed and the work of the body is optimized. This is very, very exciting. And for the guests, you are indeed in the right place, and you are seeing this presentation with a good reason in mind. So we are privileged to have a scientific advisory board who have researched and developed everything that we have, not only the nutritional, but also the skincare, the cleaning, everything that we have, the herbal range. They present them to us with a promise that we will see results. And why do I refer to the adolescents particularly? Well, that's because they have rapid growth, and good nutrition is required. And even if they were to try and eat as well as possible, which we encourage 100%, they really need all the energy, they need all the fruits and vegetables, they need to get the protein and some fats and sugars. They need all that. But because of modern day food supply, unfortunately, whatever they are eating may need to be supplemented, and actually has to be supplemented. So yes, there is rapid growth, and rapid growth requires adequate supply of nutrients. Now, we are the company, or we belong to the family where their emphasis has always, since the inception of this company in 1958, been on cellular nutrition. And that is because cells are hungry, and that is the basic unit of each one of us. And so to feed them, we have to supply what has been processed out of food. And that's why there's so much going wrong as far as people's health and energy levels are concerned. We have this product called TreeNN, which feeds every cell membrane and enables nutrients to get in and waste matter to go out. So with that product, you can be sure that your youth keep up with hormones and keep up with metabolism. And we have a variety of supplements. You will get more information as you become more familiar and involved, but I just want to show you the flagship or the core nutrition product. In addition to the amino acids that we get in our Neolife Shake, we have this called Pro Vitality. And again, you can see that threonine is in there, as are all these other products or nutrition supplements. Now, for rapid growth and development, our youth require minerals. We have mineral supplements as well that they can add to the core nutrition. We have specialized products that ensure mitochondrial energy. Mitochondria are the energy producing organelles within the cell. And so once the outer cell membrane is allowing nutrients in, it's important to get right into the mitochondria to enable the cells to promote optimal cellular energy and stamina at all levels to support the heart. It's important to start early in the youth. Good vision and hearing, cognitive health. I've spent quite a while talking about cognitive health, and also to reduce muscle pain, which is associated with situations. And we've talked about somatization of symptoms as a result of various anxieties that might arise in the youth. So we have a variety. Now, to get them, I would encourage you to have a look at this family and everything that we do and get to know all the options that we have. This is another option called Daily Vitality Pack, which gives vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin E, minerals, and Formula 4, which has threonine in it. So we also have herbals, and for the youth, one can start them quite early on masculine herbal for their mental and cognitive health and mind enhancement, again, to keep the brain working well for peak mental performance and acuity, and also for stress management. So we have so much on offer that we can encourage the youth to prepare for a bright future. And remember, I mentioned that stepping out of college or high school can be so stressful that this might be a good time to start getting the youth to have a look at this as an option, and a very viable option at that. Zig Ziglar said that you don't build a business, you build people, and then people build the business. Now, I talked about inflammation and the bad type of inflammation. So we are privileged, an absolute privilege, to have cleaning products. And I need to tell you at this juncture that I started this opportunity because I was looking for cleaning products, having seen that my children were battling with all sorts of issues that I figured were as a result of perhaps the cleaning products I was using at the time. I started hunting for good cleaning products, and I am forever grateful that I was invited to have a look at this opportunity. So yes, we do have cleaning products. And we have an astounding laundry product that is very, very economical. It is non-toxic and it is 100% biodegradable, so it will not damage the environment. And the youth need to know that they are participating in the decisions to keep the earth pristine and to conserve water and to also look after their health and wellness. So we also have other products that you'll get to know, such as detox, for detoxification of the body. That has to be done regularly so that health is maintained. So yes, let us together show appreciation and gratitude, because these two gentlemen in the picture, the founder, Jerry Bransfield, the leader of the Eagle team, Charlie Bolton, have always shown us that their lives and their whole lives are an expression of love, faith, hope, kindness, happiness, and humility. But I just want to also quote this Youth Day and the Youth Day commemoration week. What Nelson Mandela said, that the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So yes, youth, this is for you. Never give up. Great things take time.